Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.2, in which I am attempting to make Kerbals a multiplanetary species. What we have here is a crewed vessel that we are sending out to the moon to complete the assembly of our moon cache base. As you recall, I, in a previous episode, littered the ground on the moon with base parts, but the intention was always that I was going to send along an engineer to fix things and get things assembled in a way that is actually, not garbage on the ground. Alright, so we are sending now a total of, I believe I brought 10. Look at that, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. There are 12 Kerbals that are heading over, 1 engineer, and then 9 of our, or 11 of our intrepid colonist types. We have a biologist and a farmer to see if we can't get, because I think I'm going to do agroponics on this base as well. But yes, so this is going to actually be their small-scale farming operation, and based on my research, that is all that they really need is one agroponics setup. I think I'm still going to be producing far more, or have the capability to produce far more than they actually need, but they'll have it, and that'll be nice, I suppose. Okay, so as we get a little bit closer, I am coming in just such a weird way. But that's probably fine. That should allow us to come down over the landing site wherever it happens to be, because it's off of the equator a little bit. So let's leave it at this for now, but I might, when I get a little bit closer, or a little bit further out, I suppose. Let's warp a little bit. We should be landing basically right on time, or they'll be hungry. But there's an additional 15 days after they run out of supplies, and there will be plenty of snacks on the ground. Alright, a significant amount of messing around later. We are finally on our approach trajectory. I had to put them into a parking orbit for about 2 days to get the base into the sun, because I did not want to do this and all this assembly on the dark side of the moon. Looks like it's going to be a 42-second burn to cancel all of our velocity. So what I'm going to do now is try my best, my very level best, to get this retrograde marker to actually sit on the target so that we move towards it. Although I will want to push it a little bit up above the target so that I go over the top, which I'm not doing very well at all, actually. To deal with that, I actually need to push straight up. Yes, I was thinking backwards. So, that looks like it's going to get us pretty close, but not quite there. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. I'm very glad we refueled. I definitely did not have enough to actually make this landing. Once again, I'm thinking of Minmus. Alright, putting down the landing legs and starting our final approach. As I sail overhead. Alright, so, my terrible landing skills aside, we should be coming down, hopefully nearby. So I can rotate like this, and then burn straight for it. There, you can actually see that I'm a little bit closer to the, a little bit closer to putting my retrograde on top of the target at this point. Using our RCS to try to make our landing a little tiny bit more precise. Okay, so let's burn this way. Here we go. We just want to get a little bit closer, Because these Honey Badger RCS are actually strong enough to impart some lateral velocity for us. And we want this to be pretty close so that I do not have to walk a really far way. What is bouncing in the air? I wish you wouldn't do that. I see you over there. Yeah, we need to get the ground tether on as soon as possible. That is for sure. Okay, we're going to call that good. Save the game and see if I can't get my engineer out to go save that piece. Which I absolutely managed to do without cheating at all. Why do you ask that I have the hack gravity on? I don't know what you're talking about. We managed to do this completely legit. But yeah, anyways, this was something that I fought with for a really long time, trying to save that rolling piece in a legitimate way. But there was just nothing I could do, and I really did not feel like sending out that same exact piece because it kept rolling down the hill and exploding. So that's just what that is. I will have to just live with my shame. Alright, so now we have our Kerbals out and about and ready to roll and get this construction started. As you can see, I left the moon cache base with just pieces littered all over the place, but there is a method to my madness here. We will be assembling this into a coherent layout. We have a lot of deployables. We have a lot of kit that is stacked up inside that container that was rolling down the hill. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, Desley Kerman is our engineer on this construction adventure. So let's take a look and kind of survey the damage here. So we've got all these pieces out and about, most of them on their sides or bottoms. Nothing in a very convenient place. As you'll notice, I have sped up the video quite a bit because this took me about 3 hours to do. About 3 hours total to assemble this whole thing. Right, so one of the things that I noted is that most of these pieces are actually more than a ton, so we sent over some additional Kerbals and sent them bouncing and skidding across the regolith. The primary function that we are going to be using as we perform this construction is basically the team lift ability that Kerbal Attachment System allows you to do. So as you can see, with multiple Kerbals nearby, it does the same thing as having those big, the big construction pieces that allow you to lift and move additional things with Kerbal Attachment System. Each Kerbal gives you an additional ton of lifting capacity, which seems a little bit crazy, but I'm really not complaining about. The pieces that I'm working with, and let's get these legs deployed. The pieces that I'm working with here range from 1.5 tons to 4.5 tons. So I'm going to be doing a lot of, ducking in and out of these modules to get their EVA fuel replenished and make sure that we have what we need to keep going as far as building this. Oh dear. Okay, look out. Oh my goodness. Hey, you okay? You all right over there? Okay, everything seems fine. I'm just planning on disassembling that rocket anyways, because that's just the dropship that I use to put down all of these modules here. So that, along with a bunch of other things, is getting disassembled, and that's actually factored into the material kits that I brought. Okay, how do we do this? Alright, so it looks like this really boring team lift is just about the only way that we're going to be able to get this. And if you notice that, the little feet on the bottom of these modules kind of sticks in the ground if you put them in that with that orientation. So that's something I need to be really careful about, because things may end up skyrocketing into the air if you put them in such that they are clipping the ground. Unity does not like that, and it just hurls the module. Okay, so getting a little distracted because there's just so many things to do. Let's disassemble a bit of this. Like I said, we are going to be breaking this thing apart for its material kits. And everything now is actually flowing into the material kit box that I landed a little bit earlier. It's within scavenge range, so that is where all those material kits are being stored. I think I sent up a 3.75 meter box, so it has tons of room to hold onto all of the material kits that we need, plus a little bit of extra so that I can disassemble things and not have to worry about maxing out my room. Okay, so I would like you also to mark the position of that dang this module here, which is my automated processor for gypsum, and it's also where I'm planning on putting the drills. This thing is going to drill up gypsum, turn it into fertilizer, and that's going to be what we use for agroponics. And it's a nice distance away, don't you think? Like standing way over there. I'm kind of planning on moving all of these modules based on its current location. All right, so we have 5 Kerbals now that are doing this because this module is 4.5 tons, and I have to do this hideously tedious team lift where I just waddle up each of these 4 Kerbals, move one person around, drop the thing on its head, and do it again, over and over and over again. There, we're starting to get a good look at what this is going to look like. I have kind of a plan that I built in the VAB where this is set up in kind of a U shape or a W, I suppose, where I have the 4 modules arranged around a ball hub, and then, oh dear, and then sometimes that happens too. But I have 4 units arranged around a ball hub, and then the driller in the kind of the middle of the W, and that will make things nice and symmetrical and kind of pleasing to look at. All right, plenty of this wrestling ahead, so let's keep skipping forward. All right, so I have things laid out in pretty much the way that I would like. So let's get that ball hub that I talked about, or anchor hub, I suppose, and start moving this over. Unfortunately, you can't actually use your RCS jets on your Kerbals, so you have to waddle everything over individually. So let's get that placed. Was this that close before? Is this thing really where that is now? I remember having a lot more space. That thing is weirding me out a little bit. Alright, well, let's get this ball hub down. Looks like I'm going to have to rearrange things a little bit. I don't like the placement with that thing so close. Okay, I see you. I see you there. Look at that. Look at that thing. It's sliding. It is just slowly sliding. We have discovered the culprit. This thing is weird. That's so annoying. But look at that. It's sliding actively, quickly. Like, that's actually pretty dang rapid. I wish there was friction. Okay, well, we'll have to anchor that down. Alright, so lots of time we spent also assembling these flexo tubes, because that's how I plan on putting this base actually together as far as the linkages. So get that just tagged right onto there. Very nice. So we'll get that all linked up. But first, I want to get this back into a better spot. And the idea of moving each of the individual bits sounded just awful. So I think what I'm going to try to do instead is just move this one, instead of moving the entire base one piece at a time, I'm just going to tear this thing apart and move it back into the middle where I wanted it. Hopefully that will, oh, that's kind of funny. It didn't actually change its position at all when I extended those legs. But yeah, hopefully with this should be a little bit easier than moving each of those individual pieces, since I have to move 3 pieces in a central location with the same Kerbals, as opposed to doing that whole shuffle around again, because that was really not the most fun thing I've ever done. All right, so we've got this kind of taken apart. Can't quite reach. Get a little closer. All right, perfect. get that assembled on top of there. Yeah, this is not so bad. And I can use the same Kerbals, and things are a lot lighter, so I don't have to bounce around quite as much as I did. Get that Flexo 2 put on the front. We're going to have to get this locked down fairly quickly so it doesn't start walking again. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, we're okay. There. No, that didn't work either. Yeah, I tried to attach it to the ground, but it just bounced again. So one of the things that I'm noting is that when you move something with Kerbal Attachment System, it does not actually stop, it does not reset its velocity. So if you are moving a part, if you grab and move a part that is in motion, it is going to retain its vector, its velocity vector, after you move it. So there's not really any point in trying to just grab and move a piece that's already flopping around, because it's just going to keep doing that until it stops moving. So, all right, so now let's get this attached. It's a little bit too high. Maybe I can just get up on top of this, and there we go. Ta-da! Okay, cool. So I think with that, it's time to actually start linking up the base. Awesome, we are getting close now. Link. Get those Flexo tubes all set up so that people can... Oh, gosh darn it. Like I was saying, get those Flexo tubes all set up so people can move around. And also, this is why you save often when you are building a base with Kerbal Attachment System. That disassemble part button is right above the link button. So you've just got to be really careful. I think the disassemble part button comes from MKS, so I guess that's a unique MKS problem. But anyways, the base is just about set up, so let's start getting our Kerbals inside. Cool. All right, flip on the lights and start the reactor. Quaid. Recycler. All right. Cool, so I think that's just about all of the items that I have attached to the base so far. But speaking of attachments, we have all kinds of stuff off in the other thing. But first, get these radiators open. Okay, great. Like I was saying, there are a bunch of items in here that need to be attached to the side. We have some habitation modules, the ILMs, the agriculture bits, airlocks, that sort of thing. So let's get that moving one at a time. Okay, so that being done, shoot. I can't actually carry the drills, so I'm going to have to waddle them across with, in the same way that I did the, and my lights too, in the same way that I did the actual base bits, where I'm dropping them on the ground and moving them over one at a time. Kind of dragging them is the way that I envision that actually goes. And tear that down. Don't need that anymore. Awesome. We're trying to keep a clean base here. All right, one bit at a time. Here we go. All right, so we got just about all that set up. Got 2 of the 3 lights, both of my drills, and let's get this last... What the... Oh my gosh! Where are you going? What are you doing? Oh, geez. So remember what I was saying about how Kerbal Attachment System items retain their momentum? Yeah, that's what's causing this problem here. So I'll just wait. Just wait. See if it stops. Why is it such a perfect thing to roll? Oh, jeez. Okay, well, let's see if that worked out. Got all those set up, and that light is... Lights on, lights broken. Amazing. Yeah, I don't know why I'm surprised about that. Okay, so got those set up a little bit better now. Got rid of the third that does not seem to work. And let's start setting up all of these. And, oh, we're out of machinery. Oh, that's right. There's machinery also in the material kit box. Let's see if I can transfer. No, not able to transfer here. Maybe if I set up my ILM. It doesn't seem to be working, and I don't have the room in my ILM. So let's get my engineer out and see if I can't go switch that. Okay, so apparently I am being silly, and that's not actually the way that you add machinery to things, because machinery is deliberately excluded from most logistics items, but the way that you get machinery into things is this perform maintenance button that I'm using. So that fills things up with machinery, assuming there are kits nearby. So I think I had to load my game after I had the lights in the correct spot, so let's get that just fixed right back up again. And here we go. Deploy. Lights on, lights on. Huzzah! Alright, so we are getting everything set up, but the eagle-eyed viewer will notice that instead of having just one agroponics in the Duna agroponics bay and 2 greenhouses, I actually have 3 individual agroponics, so that's something that we're going to have to fix, but let's get everything else set up. We are digging up gypsum, we are turning it into fertilizer, we have agroponics rolling to make supplies. Excellent. So this is our base. This is the moon cache base. It actually has a lot more room for Kerbals than I had originally anticipated, so we might want to kind of go for broke a little bit and get the additional spaces filled up with Kerbals to actually make some money, because I think that once I get the agroponics set up with greenhouses instead of 3 individual processes, we are going to have a lot of supply capacity. And it looks like we are digging up gypsum way faster than we are actually turning it into fertilizer, so let's slow that down with just 1 drill. 5 years of habitation time. Excellent. Alright, so we have a couple more things that I need to send out, basically those specialized parts, and this is that launch, which you don't actually need to see, I don't think. You've seen stuff like this before. But here it is, coming down, just a little box of specialized parts that I can use to make changes in the agroponics bays. And we are just flying right down overhead of the beautiful moon cache base, and those lights are fantastic. I love those lights. I definitely need to deploy those on all of my bases from now on. Okay, now that specialized parts are in the scavenging range, I can just go right on over to the moon cache base. And we can bring out... Where's our engineer? Desley, come on out. And fly on over. And he can set this to greenhouse and greenhouse. There we go. Now those will work as efficiency parts, increasing the productivity of our main bay as opposed to being their own processes. Okay, and we tore apart the old the vessel that brought in our specialized parts and left that little thing on top there because it, I don't know, seems like a good thing to keep around just in case. Now our agroponics, as you can see, are up to 514% load, whereas before there were 3 individuals at 66% load. So now the one one agroponics is making full usage of the biologist and farmer as opposed to spreading that out. So here it is. This is the base. We are fully operational. Everything is activated and working fine. Things are symmetrical and looking pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. Yeah, so I think the next step is going to be adding on to the habitation capacity, but that is all the time I am going to have for this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please go ahead, leave me a like and subscribe down below, and I will see you next time.